Given that the release and premiere of my audiobook version of No Free Attention is right around the corner, more specifically, it should be released on Friday, April 22nd. Friday, April 22nd. Some men have asked me the question, Alan, does the No Free Attention audiobook contain essentially the exact same content as the Possibility of Sex audiobook? Because if so, I am not really interested in purchasing two audiobooks that essentially have the exact same content, which is a fair and valid question. My response would be this: half yes and half no. Half yes and half no. Part 2 of both audiobooks, which is chapter 5 through 9 in The Possibility of Sex and chapters 6 through 10 in No Free Attention, are pretty much the same. They're about 80% the same, with about maybe a 20% modification. They're about 80% the same, with about roughly a 20% modification here and there. So I would say, generally speaking, the last 5 chapters in each audiobook are very, very similar. They're not exactly the same, but they're very, very similar. The last 5 chapters in each audiobook. The main differences are found in part 1 of the 2 audiobooks. For The Possibility of Sex, that would be chapter 1 through chapter 4. There's 4 chapters in part 1. And in No Free Attention, there's 5 chapters in part 1. In the original Possibility of Sex, I placed more emphasis on how women can easily operate as disingenuous and misleading manipulators and financial favor seekers when socially interacting with men who are a combination of naive, financially generous, and sexually desperate. In contrast, in the No Free Attention audiobook, I place more emphasis on how man's own desire to prevent and avoid abrupt and harsh rejection severely weakens their backbone and their overall behavior with women, and ultimately places them in more of a position for women to exploit them for either their non-sexual time, attention, and companionship, or it puts them in a position for women to take advantage of them financially and materialistically. So in conclusion, I would say that the No Free Attention audiobook is more or less an amalgamation of at least 5 of my previous ebooks and audiobooks. Here would be my assessment. My No Free Attention audiobook is approximately 60% The Possibility of Sex. Again, particularly in regards to the 5 chapters in part 2. It's 60% The Possibility of Sex. It's probably 25% influenced by my Mode 1 book. The content you'll find in Mode 1 is about 5% influenced by Upfront and Straightforward. Let the manipulative game players know what you're really thinking. It's also about 5% influenced by Ooze Say It Again. And it's about 5% influenced by the Beta Male Revolution. So again, you can almost look at my No Free Attention book, and more specifically the audiobook, as an amalgamation of 5 of my previous books. I hope that answers your questions. You can find my audiobook on Friday, April 22nd on either Amazon.com or Audible.com. Amazon.com or Audible.com. Enjoy the rest of your day.